all of a sudden I couldn't perform anymore. Life got me and I had to face things that I hadn't faced before.
Shout out to our sponsor, Local Cold Brew Coffee. Hello, welcome back to another episode of Book BFFs, the show that celebrates wonderful people and the books they're inspired by. I have the pleasure today of being with one of my favorite people in the whole world, Janet Jones, and we will be discussing The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. Hello, Janet.
Hi, baby girl. How are you?
I'm so good, and you?
I'm good. I just want to hug you, but we
I know. There's like the separation, but we're there.
I know.
So some context for those of you that don't know, Janet was basically my dance mom growing up. She has mothered me through my dance process since I was 11 years old and has taught me some of the most amazing lessons both on and off the stage. So we're going to get into it.
Oh.
Yeah, Janet, I love you.
It's so weird because I still see you as a little girl, even though like you're full grown. I still like have this vivid memory of you little. So it's just so cool to see this and to see you. Like, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Janet. I know, you've like been there for every step of the way. It's insane. So for those that don't know, can you tell us a little bit about yourself with Vixen and all the things that you've been able to build in your life?
Well, you know, I was a dancer. I was a dance teacher, choreographer. And then there was a moment in my life where I left it all to try to live a normal life. So go after settling down and go after what I thought would make me a good citizen of society. And in that experience is where I was able to actually find, understand what women go through, because, you know, like being on stage and touring and that whole lifestyle isn't reality. It's not at all what every single person goes through. I mean, women especially. So just having like the 9 to 5, I became a new mother all in that period just made me realize, put myself in the shoes of just like, I don't know, something I hadn't experienced before. And then through that experience, I found how important dance was and what dance meant to me. Because for me, dance was always something much more than perhaps for most. Because my father was sick when growing up, and I didn't really have the emotional intelligence to deal with it or articulate it. And dance was always my therapist, my best friend, my everything. And it was the therapy without having therapy. And so I felt like it was important to share that with the general public and with women especially. And that's how Vixen started. It was basically just to provide dance as therapy, but in a way that like they would want to come and have fun.
What made you choose this book, The Obstacle is the Way?
Ryan Holiday is one of my favorite authors because the first book that I read of his is Ego is the Enemy. And then this book is one that I always go to. It came out like in 2014. And that's when a year after Vixen was created, I was in it. And I had this misconception of, I had my dark night of the soul before creating Vixen. And then everything led to this creation and it just popped off and everything was so easy and the doors kept on opening. I'm like, okay, finally, everything makes sense. I had gone through so much struggle. I had my dark night. I came out of it and now it's easy going from here. And that wasn't the case. It's like, I feel like every time I leveled up, it just came more and more struggle, more and more obstacles, more and more monsters to defeat. And then when I found this book, it just laid out everything that I needed to know at the moment. And why it's important is because what that book provided for me then, I will go back to it today and find completely different treasures in it, you know? And it just has different stories of how like Thomas Edison and Marcus Aurelius and just like how people have all gone through the same thing, and it's about your perception of things and how you succeed not despite adversity, because of adversity. And so when you switch your thinking that way, you welcome all the challenges that come your way. You welcome the monsters because you see them as an opportunity instead of adversity. Like, oh my God, this is a wall I can't see. It's like, no, this is a wall. How can I learn from this? Okay, what's the opportunity here? This is great. And I feel like by seeing every challenge that came my way as, yes, this is awesome, this means that I'm going to level up as a person. I'm going to upskill. I'm going to become greater because of this. It just changes really your whole life.
In the book, the common theme is that there's opportunities in obstacles. What's an opportunity you found in an obstacle that you faced?
Whew. Obviously, if we go back to like COVID, COVID, my business model is live classes, right? COVID happened from one moment to the next. We were actually in the middle of a world tour. I went from Mexico to Dominican Republic. We had flights to Spain and to Chile, and we were just gonna go. And you've been part of our events. Like we go and it's 300, 400 women in an event. And then all of a sudden that was gone. The classes were gone. And my kids were home, and it was an moment.
Yeah.
But I swear, because of this book, it's like I find in the most complicated, challenging moments, I find this deep calm in me for some reason. And maybe it's because of my past, how I've always dealt with my father being sick, or just challenges that perhaps someone else doesn't have, that I know that when something is out of my hands, there's nothing I could do with it, but I could choose to stay calm and put my energy towards things that will find solutions rather than worry.
Yes.
There's nothing comes from worry, absolutely nothing. And it clouds your vision. If you just stop, stay calm, it's like you get this upgrade of glasses.
Yes.
That you wouldn't get otherwise, And so with COVID, it was like, okay, what's the opportunity here? The opportunity here is, okay, I guess we have a virtual studio now.
Yes.
Okay. But it was also like, I couldn't get anyone to come in to set up the internet that we needed in order to do a virtual studio. So I literally YouTubed it. I literally just figured out how to wire myself. It was always like, okay, if I can't do plan A, what's plan B, C, D, E, F, G?
Yes.
And that persistence, you always get through that wall.
Yes.
And then after that, we did like a virtual certification. And because of that, we reached so many more people that we would have. And yeah, so there's always been a challenge that there's always been great opportunity from challenges.
Yes. I really want to talk about the dark night of the soul.
Oh, girl.
Girl. Yes. Let me give you guys some context, okay? I personally went through a moment where I faced my darkness and I didn't understand what was happening. So basically, I was isolated for like 6 months in my room, crying, not wanting to talk to anybody. Only my mom knew what was happening, right? And I go, if I go somewhere, they're going to label me as depression, but I don't know what I'm going through. Like, there's something that's happening to me that I can't understand. So Google, when in doubt, Google it, right? So I Google, and all of a sudden I'm like, isolation, sadness, facing my darkness, boom, dark night of the soul. And everything I read about the dark night of the soul was making sense, which was basically you waking up to your own darkness, you facing it, and your soul is kind of going through a shed, right? Sometimes there's ego death, sometimes there's certain elements. And I had no idea this existed until I went through that process. And then you start finding the light. And then there's a certain level of confidence that comes because you know the darkness and the light that exists within you. And you're able to birth and create a lot of things from a different place. So within the dark night of the soul, I think it's important that we speak about it and that we educate people in their different processes, because I'm starting to realize many people are experiencing this. They just don't know what it is. And in a generation now where we're leading a lot of, depression, get on a medication or this and that, and therapy's open, right? But let's kind of go into ourselves to really observe what's happening. What did you experience when you were going through the dark night of the soul?
Ooh, girl. Similar to you. I think the first time I went through it was in my late 20s before Vixen. I had just had my, it had started before I got pregnant. It had started, but I was masking it. So I would overwork, or I would just like do things to not face it. And then I remember when I had my baby, it was no one was talking back then about postpartum depression. And so I was hiding what I was going through because everyone made everything seem like everything was so magical and so easy. And I'm like, okay, it's so magical and easy for them, but it's not for me. There's something wrong with me. And I think that the not having someone that I could hear, or someone that I could kind of hear them talk about it and be like, oh, I'm not alone in this. There shouldn't be as much shame. I don't know if it would have kept me from going as dark as I went. But it got really dark because I was so ashamed of what I was feeling. And when I was there, that's when the helplessness, hopelessness, despair, all of these adjectives that I never would have ever thought in my life that I would describe any moment that I was going through. But also, like you said, the bringing your darkness to have a seat next to you and being like, what's up? What's good?
Yes.
You know, like what's actually going on, and having a conversation and understanding it kind of makes it go away. And not makes it go away, but takes the shame out of it. And I feel like shame is the worst human emotion that there is. That will ruin your life. And I feel like the dark night of the soul for me, I don't know. I can't tell you how I got out of it. Of course, I know that having my daughter there, that was kind of like a goal out of it. I don't know if I would have been able to get out of it alone. So if you've been through it, you know how hard it is.
Yeah.
But I also recognize that there was treasures unearthed in that rock bottom that would have never have been found if I wouldn't have gotten there. Yes. So in retrospect, the treasures that I found allowed me to create and make gold out of it, because I couldn't have related to the pain of other women unless I went through pain. I couldn't have related to their despair or their hopelessness unless I went through it myself. I'd be talking, I would have not be able to sit here and talk to you about life, period, if I haven't also been through some of the worst moments that people go through. So that in and of itself is a gift, but also coming out of it, and I don't know if you can relate, I felt like there was this wisdom and this knowledge just downloaded.
Yes.
Like all of a sudden, I just knew. I don't know how. I just knew that I didn't study, that I had no experience. It's like if God just like downloaded an encyclopedia of knowledge, and I'm like, I just know all these things. I don't know how I know them. I just know. And all of a sudden, this feeling of, I don't know how to put it, like that I have to do something in my bones, like everything inside of me, like was just like, I have to do this. People need my help. I have all of a sudden this new knowledge and all these new skills that I don't know where they came from, but to be used to serve others. And it's almost like through that dark night of the soul, I was given an assignment, right? And through that assignment, I've had the opportunity to help a lot of people doing what I love. But what I didn't know is that it doesn't happen just once. And just recently, like a year and a half, like I'm still not out of it. Like this is the first time I ever even talked, because I've been isolated, healing, doing all this stuff. So I'm here for you. But no, I'm a lot better now. But I didn't know that it could happen again. And the second go around, it was like whatever you thought rock bottom was, like at least rock bottom like had a surface. It's like you get deep in there. And it was like discovering all of these rooms that I had locked up, painted over, that I didn't even know existed, has been so, I don't know how to explain it. Like I'm so thankful for it. I'm so thankful for it, because what I've learned about myself, the wisdom that I've gotten through this experience, my ability to be of value, of service to others with this new information that I got in this new rock bottom, is something that I haven't even discovered fully yet, because I haven't put it into action yet. But I'm so grateful for it. And that's why this book, now reading it again after this time around, it's so important, because it's absolutely true that the success doesn't happen in spite of adversity. It happens because of it.
Yes. Yes. So many things I want to say. But first, thank you for being here, because these conversations are really important. And there's not many people that I can have this conversation with. So thank you. Because I'm sure people listening are like, I can relate. I'm Googling Dark Night of the Soul right now to see if I've experienced
that's
that.
me.
Right.
Yeah.
And with the book, obstacles are the pathway.
Mm.
I will say that again. Obstacles are the pathway. We try to go on these detours and go away from things. And it's like, no, the second you face them, the reward comes with it. But what opportunities are we looking in that? So within the Dark Night of the Soul, like you're sitting in your,
oh my God.
you know, you're having a conversation. You're like, bro, what's up? You want to have a seat up with me? Let's talk about it. And then initially you reject it, right? Initially you're like, I don't like you, get away from me. And then you realize you are me. You are part of me. So instead of me pushing you away, how can I work with you? And to be quite honest, we need our darkness.
But that's the way the universe is. Everything's in duality.
Of
How do you know
course.
that you're good? How do you know that you're good?
Because you've experienced bad.
Because you've been bad and you're like, this don't feel right.
Exactly.
But you don't know that unless you have the bad. Like it's one doesn't exist without the other.
Right. But that's why like the book talks about that polarity of both. And in our lives, we need that polarity. I used to think, oh, I'm just light. I'm going to be happy all the time. And that's my natural essence. Yes. But there's a deeper layer of me. And when I tapped into her, I was like, ooh, hi. And she unlocked all these other doors. Mm-hmm. So when the light started coming in, I was like, ooh, I see you. But also I'm gonna keep some elements of her too. And they say the deeper you understand yourself is the deeper you can understand another. Mm-hmm. And also you can only meet somebody as deeply as you've met yourself.
1,000%.
So it's almost like this veil comes off of your eyes and you're able to see people. I tell people all the time, I truly believe the most beautiful compliment you can give somebody is, I see you.
Yeah.
Not you're beautiful, not, you're intelligent. Those things are great. But like, I see you. Like, I see you past your pain. I see you through your beautiful elements. I see you past your obstacles. And in this human experience, it's that.
That's one of the most important things for human to feel. And it's important that you say that, because I add it specifically in my classes. That's how I teach. That's how I teach others to teach the format. We teach our instructors that if there's someone who's hiding in the back, you have to go up to them and tell them a compliment. Be like, I see you. You're doing great. I see you. They have to say those words to them and look them in the eyes, because that person feeling seen can change the trajectory of their whole entire life. I swear to God, just something so simple as you making another human being feel seen can change that human being's future. I promise you. And it's so important that you say that. And it's true. And a lot of times that we can't see other people when we're just so clouded by our own ego and just so like, just trying to keep up the facade, man. I know that in this last time, I'm so grateful because right when I was falling into it, I noticed that like all of the tools that I had that would kind of keep me, all the tools that I had that would hide parts of me that I didn't want to be seen. Like I always had this fourth gear. Like I had this fourth gear that I could almost like dissociate, and I do dissociate and just keep going and put a smile and just perform. And before I fell into this, I noticed that like God took away all my weapons. Like, in a video game, you get like these new sword and the thing and the veil. And all of a sudden I got to a level and like I had no sword, I had no veil, I had no nothing. And I was like, what? This is not working. Nothing that would work before started to work. And I felt like completely like, how do I put this? Naked.
Stripped away.
Yeah, just completely stripped. And I was terrified of even being seen in public, because I felt like I'm almost like, I don't want to say authentic to a fault, but like if I wear my emotions like in my face, like if I can't lie, like if you'll know that something's wrong with me, or like I can't fake it like that, especially when I didn't have my tools with me. The tools help me fake because I'm a performer. I could perform. I could have a terrible day and come and perform, but all of a sudden I couldn't perform anymore. I felt like life got me. Like it finally got me, and I had to face things that I hadn't faced before, but I had to face things that I didn't even know I had. So then all of a sudden I was there in the mud, and all of a sudden the paint that I painted over these rooms started to come off, and I'm like, oh, there's a door there.
Yeah.
Open the door.
Yeah.
And oh my God, there's another door there, and there's a trunk. Let me unlock it. And the thing about healing, which I discovered, is like, I thought, okay, I'm gonna take 8 weeks off, and I'm just gonna focus on healing. And I'm gonna be the best healer. I'm gonna become trauma informed, and I'm gonna learn all these lessons, like get a certification and be a professional healer. And it was like one layer just opened up a can of worms, and then that can of worms turned into a beehive. It was like,
yes.
whoa.
Yes.
So my decision to come here was important for me, because I always felt like I have to be ready. And that actually goes against this book, because this book deals about the discipline of perspective, how you see things, the discipline of action, and then the will. So I know I have the will. I could keep going. Like, that's one thing. That's one thing about me. I'm very good at, I don't want to say surviving, but I'm really good at being adapting to uncomfortable spaces and but the action before feeling ready is something that I've struggled this time around, because I feel like I have everything that I had to hide was stripped out of me. Even things that I didn't know I was hiding was stripped out of me, laid bare. So now to come out in public, knowing from my past experience how coming out in public brings in a lot of dark, a lot of betrayal, a lot of just negative stuff that I've been afraid to face. But coming here, I'm like, no, I'm gonna come here and talk about this book. And the first thing this book says is like, no, you have to do action, even if you're not ready to act. And so it's important to state that I'm here not fully where I want to be, healed, but still in the process. But that's what's really cool about this, because it just shows that it's like, we could be up here talking about this, and maybe we're both and that's
totally cool.
And that's totally cool. It doesn't mean, it's like we are all struggling with something. And until we're all honest about, this is something that I'm going through, but I'm still here. And so your perception of me having it together is completely wrong. I'm able to talk about what I'm going through, and knowing that the one thing that's for certain in this life is that someone out there is going through it too. And so if it's just one person, what it is? You change the life of one person. Powerful. You change that one person's family.
Yes.
Their children.
Yes.
Their husband. That's not just one person. That's like 10 people that you change by changing one person, because they heard you say something that they felt shame about.
Yes.
That's important.
And I want to add to that, because one of my favorite chapters in the book is Amor Fati.
Yeah.
Which is love of fate. And it's basically saying, loving everything that's happening. And that to me did something, because we all have choices in our experiences, right? So as I went through the dark night of the soul, I knew I was in my lowest of lows and it wasn't going to get pretty. But there was a sense of, I know this is happening for a reason, and I love that. It's very complex to understand that layers, but when the book talks about perception, like, it's how you perceive that whatever thing you're stuck in, whatever struggle you're in right now, how do you perceive it? And yes, I chose to stay in there longer because I needed that, but I somehow knew that I needed that. And in the moment, it can seem dark and scary and just like, that's it. Your world is coming to an end, but like, you're in a bigger world. So there's a reason for why this is happening. So if anybody is struggling through something right now or growing through their experience, understand that there's light somewhere there. And the biggest tip I can say is support. Find somebody you can confide in, because you don't have to do it alone, or keep it all in by yourself. I was blessed. I had my mom, right? And I recognize that not many people have an outlet, but finding somebody who might not even understand what you're growing through, but can hold you accountable when all is in shambles. You can just call them and vent. You can call them and just cry. Whatever it is you need to.
But that's why I told you before, what you do is so important, especially for me, that I'm a mom of 2 girls who, no matter what I tell them, it's coming from me, the mom. but coming from you, it hits different. And we're told to go to someone, to talk to someone, but a lot of people don't have the tools.
Right.
A lot of people with the best of intentions will say the wrong thing that could get you deeper in that hole. So it's important to have people like you. It's important to have, you know, those platforms that you've created so that people can go and talk to someone and have their vulnerability. Because for you to get the courage to even say it, it takes a lot of courage, yo.
I know. I'm like, I ain't never telling anybody this, and now I'm like, the world needs to know about this because we need to help everybody.
It takes all of you, like all of you, to be able to even say that. And if that vulnerability is not received well, or received and it makes you feel shame, you could be gone. You know, so it's important to tell someone, but find your people. Find people who have gone through it too, who will know what you're talking about and will not kind of like brush it over with that toxic positivity.
Yeah, oh, girl, I know.
Everything happens for a reason. That's not what I want to hear right now.
Yeah.
You know, so it's important what you do, man.
Yeah. Thank you. I love you so much.
I love you so much too.
I know. Is there any final like favorite takeaway that you had from this book that you're just like, this one section just really hit?
There's a story that he says in there about Thomas Edison that his plant like got on fire, and literally all the work that he had done up to there was up in flames. And what he did was he called his family. He said, go get my wife, go get my kids, because this is going to be the most beautiful fire you'll ever get to see. Instead of getting the bucket and trying to put the fire out, he just surrendered and was like a complete surrender and seeing the beauty in what could have been the most catastrophic thing to him.
Yeah.
That part always hits me hard.
Wow. I love that so much. See, there's so much beauty in all these little elements. So we're going to play a nice little fun game.
What is it?
To get to know you a little bit better. We got our drum roll. Dun, 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 dun.
Jar.
Question jar. So it's a jar filled with questions. I don't know what's in here either. So we're going to find out.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. First question. Share a memorable life experience that's been great.
I have many, but having my kids, I know.
Your little babies, they're so big.
I know. It's wild.
They're big.
It's wild because I'm 22 years old.
I know, and they're so big.
I don't know how it's
like you hit 20, you hit 22 and you stopped aging. I love it. What's a hobby or activity you've always wanted to try?
Well, I used to compete when I was little for horseback riding. I loved being equestrian. I love horseback riding. I would love to get back into that, but I don't know. I'd love to be good at sports, but I'm so bad at sports.
Really?
Anything with the ball, I'm so awful at it. You have no idea. You would never. I'm like, I got a D.
I assume since you're dancing, you're a dancer and you're coordinated.
There's no
balls.
Come on,
like
there's no objects. Put a prop in my dance, I'm a mess. I got
you could do cheer dances.
Huh?
You could do cheer dances.
I mean, that's different.
Okay,
but
okay.
I got a D in PE.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
How did you get a D in PE?
Because wherever I would tell the ball to go, we'll go the opposite way. Volleyball, basketball, anything with the ball, I can't do it.
Janet, no way.
That part of my brain doesn't work.
I love that. We're going to fix this. We're going to play some sports together.
No.
Starting with basketball.
Oh, my husband would love that, yeah.
We're going to broom it. All right. Describe a dream project or business idea you would like to pursue.
I want to launch the girl version of VXN, as in just blending the mental health and tackling the girls with the fitness and with the hidden mental health stuff before life gets hard for them.
Wow. I would love to work on that with you.
Because it's like, if adults don't have the emotional intelligence and they're not teaching it in school, And one of the most important things for the success of one's life is to have that. Where are they getting it from?
100%.
They don't have access to it unless they hit their head against the wall. And I would like to avoid that.
Yes. That's why I would go to speak to schools, because education is a whole other topic, but there's certain elements in the education system that I don't believe they teach. So that's why through Limitless Legends,
writing a check, like credit,
like your taxes, like opening up a bank
like everything
account,
you need to live.
Like how do I deal with my emotions?
Yeah.
You know, not just on a financial standpoint, but on an emotional standpoint.
Absolutely.
Right. And so if we're spending all these hours in schools, that was a big element for me. So that's when I created Limitless Legends. And I was like, well, through my company, I could still get into the school system and touch kids. And in that process, the most beautiful things I've realized, I would leave there, speak for an hour, and they'd be like, I finally submitted my college application. My grades have changed since you've left. Another one was I stopped hanging around a certain group of people. All I did was speak for an hour.
1 hour.
And if the school system implemented more of those things, it would change. And so a kid is so adaptable in their mindset versus an adult who might already be stuck in their ways. So it's easier for a kid to change into that process. And some of them have never seen an example that it is possible, right? So you wanting to create that experience for younger girls is like, let me know and we can.
Well, imagine like you could literally get a doctors from Harvard, and if you don't know how to manage your emotions, if you're not emotionally intelligent, like you have no way to be successful.
Yes.
Like, so it's like there's so many important. If 1 hour of your time had that effect, and they spent however many hours a day in school, like. Why does 1 hour of your time have that effect? Why is that not included in the education? It makes no sense.
Of course. And one more thing I want to add. One of the most comical moments I had with Pitt was when I got on the team. He says to me, he says to all of us, Pitt tells us all, you're going to learn things here that Harvard can't even teach you.
That's true.
And I laughed. I'm like, yeah, right. What are you going to teach me that Harvard can't? Girl. I got my degree from FIU, and I have learned the most from the University of Life under his wings. It's insane. So that balance of life itself versus the education is both equally important, and it's what we build from it. So yes, you wanting to build that and create and expand, right? Expanding what you've already made, that you already have a formula that works, I think is brilliant. And I'm here to tell you 100% go for it. We're together. All right, Janet. Oh, I wish I could talk to you for more hours, but our time is up. Where can people find you?
VXNworkout.com, or you can follow me on Instagram.
Hey,
Janet_Jones. And yeah, and I hope to do something with you soon.
Yes, we will. And for anybody listening, I'm going to say it's fair game that you can message us, you can DM us. Let us know if you need assistance, if you need support.
Yes.
Through your process and whatever you're going
off of that 1,000%. If you don't have anyone to talk to, DM me.
Yes, or me as well. So you have it. Oh.
This was therapeutic.
I know.
This was
I needed
like
that.
Food for the soul.
I needed to take a breath. I'm glad we did this.
Sancocho for the soul.
Sancocho for the soul. Well, there you have it. We just finished wrapping up with Janet Jones, the one and only, I repeat, one of my favorite people in this human existence. If you enjoyed our conversation and you want to check out The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday, make sure to click the link in the description below and get your copy today. Always remember there is opportunities in obstacles. And like, comment, subscribe. Let us know your favorite part. And let us know any recommendations of books you would like us to have on this podcast. As always, turn the page and we'll see you in the next one.